They needed somebody to come in and be like the bowling ball to knock over all the pins, to put the energy in motion, right? Because if you went back in 6 months or 12 months later, you'd notice that things are starting to change. But
No.
somebody had to break the energy, somebody had to start, and you were brave enough to step in and do it.
Hello, everyone. This is Kathy Caprino, and welcome to my podcast, Finding Brave. I've created this show for everyone who longs to create something bold and brave in their life, to rise up, speak up, and stand up for who they are, and to reach their highest and biggest visions. Each week, I'll be speaking with inspiring guests from all walks of business, leadership, entertainment, the creative arts, and the entrepreneurial world. And they'll be sharing their intimate stories of finding brave and offer their best strategies for building your most rewarding, joyful, and meaningful life, business, and career. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Finding Brave. I know I say this a lot, and it's true. I just feel so very blessed to speak to the people I speak to on this podcast. I feel like it's a master class in every dimension of life and work that we would want to know. And boy, today is no different. We have the amazing honor and just blessing to be speaking with Jeffrey Allen today. First of all, Jeffrey, you've come, you're in Tokyo. It's early in the morning and you've just gotten over COVID. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to be with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Kathy. Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm excited to be here, and yeah, it's going to be really fun.
It's going to be so fun. People, I think you're in for a very huge treat, and this is not something I've covered in the show in this way. Well, Jeffrey's one of a kind, so I wouldn't have uh, done it, in this way. But we are going to bridge some areas of career and leadership and personal growth and performance and talk about, there's so much we're going to talk about. But the first piece is, didn't even prep you on this title, Jeffrey. I hope it's okay. Taking a brave leap to live
Mhm.
your purpose. And I feel like we're also talking about how do we identify the
Mhm.
work that we're meant to do
Mhm.
and how we authentically want to do it. Would you say that hits home with your
Oh,
key
yeah,
messages?
yeah, it really hits home because especially now, there's more and more people that are sort of naturally tuning into what their inner guidance is
Mm.
saying, like what they truly want, whether they're trying or not. Even if you're not on a concrete personal growth path of your own, it doesn't matter. The energy right now is set so that all of us are sort of getting more authentic, whether you're asking for it or not. And so being authentic comes with what you just said, Kathy. It comes with this realization that my priorities are shifting a little bit. My desires are shifting. I'm like, even though I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing and I feel, you know, successful at it, I don't feel as fulfilled as I used to. And I'm kind of wanting to do this thing over here, which sounds a little scary, and maybe I won't make as much money, or you know what I mean? Like, or maybe people will think I'm funny. So a lot of people have been going through that right now,
Wow.
even more than before. So yeah, perfect.
Well, this is perfect. So, folks, let me tell you about Jeffrey. His bio is amazing. Jeffrey Allen is a spiritual thought leader, Mindvalley author, and speaker, a powerful energy healer. I can attest to this, and a pioneer in online energy training. Oh, through his programs with Mindvalley, he's introduced more than 1 million people worldwide to the exciting world of personal energy healing to improve their relationships, deepen their spiritual connection, and increase their personal presence, happiness, and impact in the world. Jeffrey's mission is to make energy work and accessing a higher consciousness available to everyone so we each can unburden ourselves from conflict and pain and build fulfilling lives of true passion, purpose, and meaning. Jeffrey now lives in Toronto with his beautiful wife, Hisami. What a story about how you met. Maybe we'll touch on that. I mean,
Tokyo, actually. Yeah, Tokyo.
what
Yeah,
did I say? Toronto?
Toronto. You got the first syllable.
Oh my goodness. It's
And the
it's
last
late
one.
for me, Jeffrey. It's late for me. Yes, Tokyo. That's the
Yeah.
story. And fascinatingly, you don't quite speak fluent Japanese yet, do you?
No, I don't. Even though I've been here 15 years living in
15
Tokyo,
years.
and we've been married 15 years, I'm still not fluent vocally, and I'm mostly illiterate, which is really unusual. Like 15 years I've been illiterate. This is this is so strange. I'm
In
actually a pretty
terms
smart
of the
guy.
language. But you,
In Japan. Yeah.
right,
I mean,
right.
obviously in English I'm great,
Yes,
but
and you were an incredible software engineer and brilliant analytical mind. I really would love to get to that. I wonder, is it possible? We're not done with the bio. Here we go. I'm asking questions. Is it possible that the universe doesn't want you to actually speak with words the same language?
well, that's part of it. Hisami and I are uh, both very tuned in energetically.
Right.
She is more so than me. Like she's naturally Hisami's from the time she was born, her whole life, she never really felt disconnected from the source. She never felt the sense of separation that it's kind of normal for almost everybody. Um, but so when we met, even though we didn't speak the same language, energetically we could really feel each other and we could communicate that way. And there's something really pure about that. I always tell people if you want to have a really fun first date with somebody, uh, don't talk.
I've
Like,
told 10 people that because I've
yeah,
seen so much of your material.
yeah,
I think that the average person, not average, I don't mean that, a person who's not tapped into energy
mhm,
would be so intimidated. I'm not discouraging folks, but you and she speak the same language of energy, I think.
yeah,
I know she has it, and I'm fascinated about how you said she never read, she never trained. She must have been
yeah,
born into it. Well, all right, I
mhm,
have questions, but I do want to tell everybody that yes, it's Tokyo, my goodness. And you've created with her a transformational course, which I can
mhm,
attest to. I've listened to every chapter 3 times, Awakening Your Spirit Mind. And you teach about the spirit mind versus the material mind, which is so helpful, and why energy is shifting now. So let's start from the top. And I would love to have you talk about briefly, you were a software engineer,
mhm,
made good money, beautiful
yeah,
house, but you had other callings. And
yeah.
so, part of this is how do we hear those and honor those? And what
Mhm.
does it take to actually make the leap? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you bet. You bet. So, yeah, I was a software engineer for 15 years. That's my training, mathematics and computer science.
Hmm.
And I loved it. I really enjoyed being a software engineer. But somehow I didn't, like I said, I just didn't feel fulfilled. And it was really weird because like I said, I'd get up, like I'm leaving my beautiful house, driving my cool car, going to my cushy job, making good money. Why do I hate it? I don't understand. I don't, like, how
It
can this
was
be?
that visceral, like, I
Yeah.
hate
Yeah. I'm
this.
like, how can this be terrible? It's like feels terrible. I'm like, I don't understand because there's nothing wrong. And but that whole time also I'd been doing energy work on the side. So I had this side gig like doing intuition and energy healing. And it was just something fascinating that I was surprised it was even possible. Found some schools that could teach it. I'm like, sure, see if you can teach me that. If you can teach an engineer that, anybody can learn, right? And so as that was opening, I started to get the sense that, wow, when I'm doing that, I'm helping people directly and I can feel it. I can see it in there. I can see the change in people's lives. When I'm doing this engineering thing, most of the software we write doesn't actually get installed. I can't really see that I'm helping anybody other than myself. Like I'm making good money. It's
Right.
really helpful for me, but I want to help other people too, right? I want to do both. I want to, I want to
Right.
have abundance and I want to help people. And I think that's the way money is actually set up to work for us. If we focus on helping people and giving, it's natural that abundance and money is going to flow back to us. So yeah, so the
Wow.
transition for me is, I was in that space of suffering, and I just got this hit that, something's going to change. And for me, a big thing with intuition is to not to ask why or how. If you know the what and you know the when, that's enough. So I'm like, okay, things are going to shift. I'm going to be out of this. It's going to take about 2 years. I'm going to be doing something else. I'm pretty sure it's going to be energy work, but whatever it is, I'm okay. And knowing that it was 2 years later gave me the freedom to relax. Like I don't need to figure it out. I know how the
Oh,
universe works for me, and it's things are going to shift, right? So I kind of relaxed and just leaned into being present in my job. And sure enough, about a year and a half later, I noticed, it was actually 2005. I'm like, oh, this is the year things are supposed to shift for me. Nothing's changed yet. Interesting. What's going to happen? And then coincidence after coincidence, things opened up. I ended up moving, or not moving, I ended up getting a month off of work paid, which I didn't expect. That happened to line up exactly with somebody later told me, "Oh, I want you to come to Africa and teach at my intuition school." I'm like, just everything lined up, and I didn't actually do anything other than say yes and step in, which was super scary, right? So
mm,
saying yes and stepping in is scary, right?
right.
And and it was that time, that 1 month when I was in Africa teaching, and the students there, I was afraid they were going to find out that I'm an engineer just pretending to be a
Yeah.
healer.
Imposter.
Yeah, and because even though I've been doing it for 10 years, this was new to me to do it at this level. But all they only knew me as their teacher's teacher, and they totally accepted that. By the end of the month, I accepted it, and I realized, oh, I'm actually a healer pretending to be an engineer. No wonder I'm not happy. Like, it was just such a big shift. Just just to try something out, and get that feedback. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm all in, universe, just whatever, just bring it to me. And within the next 5 to 6 months, everything lined up. I'd moved out, I'd sold my house at a time when it was difficult. I had moved to Sedona. I didn't even know about that place before. And all of a sudden, I'm in this whole new life. And I feel fulfilled. I feel happy. I feel excited, even though it's scary. So
All
it's,
right, I have questions. Can I
yeah,
ask you?
yeah, dive in.
Now,
Yeah.
there's so much fabric of what you've said, so many stories that I want you to listen to, Jeffrey, on YouTube, find everything you can, because the stories about how you were guided here, they're so captivating. But I've listened to hours of you, Jeffrey, and there's like three questions I have. Um, so a little bit of disclosure, I was telling Jeffrey before. I did quickly. I remember, and I've never said this out loud. I'm going to really, maybe you will know the answer to this, but I remember when I was in fifth grade, I'm bringing it up for a reason. All I can tell you, and people don't get scared. Yes, I'm a career and leadership coach, but here we go. I remember I would get this weird metallic taste in my mouth. Maybe it happened 10 times, and suddenly it was like I could see the classroom from the ceiling. Have you ever had that kind of experience? Where I
Yeah.
could see everything from up here. I never told anyone because I thought, and I even looked up years later, metallic taste in your mouth. What does that mean? But I knew early on that something's a little strange here with me. And then quickly, after corporate life, I became a therapist and I could see and feel things that were not being communicated. I could see videos in my mind. But the reality is, I got scared about it because I don't think I was well boundaried, and no one in my life or my master's
Mhm.
degree in therapy really, I think, would have understood that. So I tell everybody that, and still to this day, I can feel energy. I'm an HSP, a highly sensitive person, but it's more than that. But Jeffrey, this is what I want to understand. You said you knew, okay, in 2 years, my life is going to change. What I've been struck with listening to you is you call them your guides, I think.
Mhm.
You hear them so clearly and you listen.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm wrong in saying this is the one thing that most people are going to struggle with. And I have tried myself so hard to
Mhm.
really listen to the voice of guidance. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is before maybe 2 years, there was a group of guides that I could hear and talk to.
Mhm.
And I can't hear them now. I can't hear them. And I'm wondering if there's been a shift energetically or a quantum shift. I'm not hearing them. But the question is, have you always, as a child, had this gift? And how
Mhm.
did you learn to hear
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and understand this is a voice I should listen to?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I would say
That's a
the answer
big
is
long question.
both yes and no. And to your story for just a moment, like when you're saying, did the guides go away or what happened there?
Yeah.
What's happened is you've integrated that awareness.
They're
So
in me now. They're me. Is
yeah,
that it?
you're listening, but you're contextualizing it differently. And
Helpful.
um,
Huh.
that's why I say yes and no. Have you always had this? Because we can really only see what's part of our belief system, right? And fortunately, there's our experiences shape that, but it's very common for us to want to discount or throw away experiences that don't fit in our beliefs. Because it begs the question, like, is society going to accept us? Are we going to be kicked out of the tribe? You know, it probably goes back to tribal days,
Yeah.
right?
It's
But
primordial. It's,
yeah,
life or death, I think.
but
We
I remember when I was in my late 20s, as when I first got into this intuition school, and we're sitting in a circle and we're doing this guided meditation with the teacher, and they're saying, you know, tune in and just visualize an apple. And we go around the room and talk about it. And I remember one guy, he was just this, really interesting person, just had a normal job. Everybody in there had normal jobs. None of us were like professional, crazy people. That's what they called it back then. Right? And, and, um, and he'd say, "Oh, yes, I can see the apple and the detail and the stem and this in the background." And he'd go in, it's like he's seeing this whole painting in detail, right?
Wow.
And it'd come around to me and it'd be my turn, like, well, if it's a black apple in a black room, I'm seeing it clearly. Yes,
Meaning
I'm
I'm
not,
seeing nothing.
yeah, I'm getting nothing. I'm getting
I
nothing
got
here.
nothing here.
And, and I remember that happened for a long time. And I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything, or so I thought, right?
Yeah.
The trick is that I was in the part of the mind that doesn't access that. I was in the what we call it, somebody calls it the material mind,
Right.
and
Eh.
that mind is not for that purpose. It's about things you can touch, feel, the body, logic, emotions. It has a whole different purpose, but it
Wow.
doesn't have access to intuition. It doesn't have access to the just
Mm.
that interconnected information stream that has across all time and space and everything, everybody all at once. That doesn't
Wow.
it can't tap into that. Um,
Wow.
so it's what I noticed over time, like that started coming in. I practiced a lot, so it got a lot better. I experimented with it, and so it got a lot better. I just had fun. I was curious instead of seriously trying. All those
Mm.
things help. And then I noticed people would ask me this question, right? So, oh, when's the first time you heard your guides? And at first it's like, oh, I remember it was like I was 32, I was in Sedona, was this was happening. And then somebody else would ask me the question a year later, and I'd be like, oh, actually, I kind of remember now I was 25 and this happened. And then somebody else would ask the question later. I'm like, actually, now I kind of remember when I was 10, like something happened. And then,
Wow.
that's when I started getting it. And I was teaching and seeing the same thing in other people too. And I was like, oh, we all have these experiences all the time. It's part of being alive. We're all intuitive. We're all healers. We're all mediums because we're
Mm.
spirits, occupying bodies. This is just part of the
Right.
game. But we're not paying attention to that. We've been told like if you do that, you might get burned at the stake, right? So it's very scary to lean into that, metaphorically or not realistically, burned at the stake, right?
No, I
And
get it. Do you happen to
and
believe
so
in past lives, Jeffrey?
I do, in the sense that I did professional readings for 10 years, just talking to people over the phone. I'd never met them. I didn't even see them. And like you said, as soon as we started talking, I could see the whole thing. It's like a video playing out
Of
across
of
time.
my energy or
Yeah, of the person that I'm reading, and then they could say, oh, and then my brother's wife's daughter, and it just all kind of shifts. It's like all the information is there. And it was fascinating. And I always told people, I can't tell you that what I'm seeing is true, but what I can do is tell you what I'm seeing. And
I
and
love that. That's
and
very
if it's
ethical.
yeah, and if it's and
Yeah.
hopefully it's helpful. And if it's not, that's totally okay too. Just let it go. Anything's not helpful or feels bad or scared you, let it go. But it's kind of interesting. Let's see what I see. So we'll
Yeah.
just dive in.
Oh my
And
gosh.
but what I saw there with regard to past lives is that Yeah, very clear images of past lives. When I would tell people this, what I was seeing, they would say, "Wow, for the first time ever, my family makes sense now. The way you described all the relationships in that past life, the ones that are playing out in this life too. Now I understand why I feel that way about my brother, my mom, my father, my kids. It sort of was, and I was shocked. Like, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm just,
Because it's
I'm like,
coming to you.
I'm like,
Here it is. I'm going to tell
I
you
don't have
what
any
I
agenda.
see.
Yeah, it's no like special wisdom that I have. I would tell people, I'm like, it's not like you're asking me for something that I know. I just
Wow.
happen to have figured out how to look at that, and I like talking about it. And
It's so fantastic. I do
but
want to, I,
but,
oh,
one
I don't
quick
want
thing
to
though,
cut you
but
out.
what I noticed, just like I said with your guides, how you're contextualizing it differently now, and then it feels like they're not there in the same way. The
Yes.
same thing is true with past lives.
Hmm.
So contextually, it seems like it's one person going from life to life on a thread. But the deeper I look, I realize that's not actually true. It's not, the spirit world does not operate as linearly as the material world. Because I started noticing that
Hmm.
there are past lives and there are past lives that I've experienced, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're unique to me.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that, there's some collective, just like there's a collectiveness in our consciousness, even in present time in this life, there's also this collectiveness in the past as well. So it's really hard to understand that. It's hard to understand infinity when you're dealing with with your mind that knows finite things and isn't a finite expert. So
Well, I
yeah.
had a past life regression, and all I can tell you is the woman's name was Mary, and I felt what it was to be in her body and to have a different mind. It was a simple mind, not an anxious mind, not an into it would I mean, I literally felt what it was to be another human being. So, but
Wow.
I understand what you're talking about. There was something I wanted to ask you, darn it. Oh, as you're all listening, folks, my wish is that you naturally find a way to connect with what we're saying and not think, oh, that's so weird and that's so way out. Because the more people I know, the more we have what you're talking about. We just don't
Mm.
identify, label it this way. But this is what I want to say. I heard 5 times that you said before you'd really stepped into this world, this life,
Mhm.
your boss would send you in your software engineering world to these meetings that you were getting on planes, you were going to meetings that what am I doing here? I'm not even on this project. And I know I'm paraphrasing, but this is how I heard it. She said, but you make the meeting go better. Everybody
Yeah.
gets along better. And I was so struck because, and people, I think you're going to resonate with this. For years, I would walk into a meeting and it wasn't, I don't think, that I made people feel better. It was that I could feel what they were feeling. Oh, she's
Yeah.
very threatened. He's afraid. He's checked out. This one's jealous. I would just feel it. But
Mhm.
my material mind later, after I became a therapist, said, well, that was because in my childhood, I kind of had to really be
Mhm.
vigilant about what was going
Yeah.
on in order to, kind
Yeah.
of
That's
get.
true too. Yeah.
That's true too. So what's fascinating is it's not either or, right? But I think there's a lot of people listening who might nod their head and say, oh, I think I make people feel better in meetings.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? I thought that was
Yeah,
so fascinating.
definitely. It's so natural. And yeah, two things come to mind. One is yeah, in that that was in the corporate world. I was working for Sun Microsystems, and it I was just bored. Meetings were boring for me, and so I would just sit there, and I was like, well, let's play with this other thing, this energy thing. So I just sit in the meeting and play with the energy. So I'd look at if people weren't communicating, I could kind of see like, oh yeah, there's a lot of tension there, and so I had my hands under the table, and I'm kind of like just kind of seeing it.
And
What
this is
happened?
what you do. People who are watching the video, you move energy with your hands, don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes.
it's just natural. It's not
Yeah.
I guess the thing that's unique to me is that at some point I stopped caring if people thought I was weird.
Well, there's the
I just
key.
I and once you do that, all of a sudden it's like, okay, so I'm excited about talking to people who are very much like me in the sense that they're very analytical, they're very logical, they're very, kind of counter what you would think to a person being intuitive. And they're highly intuitive. Like there's just so many people like that. Creative people are so intuitive. That's all that flow that's coming through you all the time. Or like you said, when you walk into a meeting and it's like you're connecting with people and you can see the change and people, there's some kind of relief there. You don't even know why it's happening because it happens all the time. Your experience seems normal, but it's not. Not everybody has that effect.
That's right.
You know, but if you start to notice that and like you said, you're looking around, feeling what people are feeling, as long as you're not judging it, it flows
No.
really easily.
And you
Like
have
it only,
empathy for it. Oh,
yeah,
that's why they're behaving like that.
yeah,
And sometimes I'll even see as a child, they never were listened to. So when they're talked over, they get very triggered. I'm sitting
yeah,
there having all these thoughts. Focus, Kathy. But all
yeah.
right, I have another question for you that I haven't heard you talk about. I th I think some people might have experienced what I'm about to share, and that's why we shut down. So, how many years have I been doing this work since I was a therapist? 20. Um, was invited to give a series of workshops for a particular organization. It was women. And I made the mistake of saying, you know, I was talking about kind of a higher self, but it's not a religious concept at all. It's a spiritual
Mhm.
concept as I mean it. But I mentioned that I talked to my angels, and I didn't mean it religiously.
Yeah.
And they all seemed okay with it. And I said, not all of you are going to do that, but what I'd like you to maybe you want to talk, walk in nature, or you want to, whatever. So I leave the room, leave it. It looked like a great workshop. I was coming back next week, and the boss runs out into the parking lot, shaking, saying,
Oh,
I'm sorry, but we can't have you back. I can't even say this without crying.
wow.
And I said, what happened? And she said, they're all freaked out.
Yeah.
Um, So the mistake I made, and I recognize this now,
Yeah.
when we use religious connotations, words like
Mhm.
God, you know, it's so subjective what we think is
Mhm.
whether we think there's source or the universe or we don't. And you're smiling. Okay, I'm sure you have a lot to say.
Yeah.
I steer clear of that because I'm triggered by very religious content because I'm a
Yeah.
spiritual person and I've had a lot of experiences with a lot of different religions.
Mhm.
But I think I misunderstood what was going on there and I shut down. He's
No, so
laughing. Will you
yeah,
tell
definitely.
me?
Yeah, I'd say you did misunderstand it, I would say, because you said the mistake you made, but I
Mhm.
don't see that at all. Like as you're telling the story and I can see it playing out, there was no mistake at all.
How so?
What they wanted, what they needed was somebody to come in. You have a lot of people that are really dogmatically positioned.
Mm.
They're like they want to change, but they're afraid that it's like a group thing. One individual changing is scary, so they kind of stick in the pack, right? They needed somebody to come in and be like the bowling ball to knock over all the pins, to put the energy in motion, right?
What?
Because if you went back and 6 months or 12 months later, you'd notice that things are starting to change. But
No.
somebody had to break the energy, somebody had to start, and you were brave enough to step in and do it. And
Oh,
it's
what a
beautiful,
reframe.
right?
Ah,
It's
I
beautiful,
wish
and
I'd
it's
talked to you 18 years ago. Oh my.
yeah. But you also had your personal part too. So what it did for you is it also knocked some things over in you and caused you to, you know, think, oh, maybe I should see this differently. Maybe I mean, it's the same thing that happens to all of us when we step into something new and scary. It doesn't make it less scary to do it. It makes it more scary to do it. And then some people are going to give us negative feedback, and that's even scarier. It hits us harder.
Well,
Um,
unfortunately, I didn't have anyone like you to talk to about, okay, well, let's look at it. What do you want to take from that? What
yeah,
it just did is shut me down and scare
yeah,
me, you know.
yeah.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever
Sure, yeah.
had
And you know
people
what?
say, you're
You
crazy?
see what happened energetically, right? So that energy being shut down and stuck and scared, you pulled some of that out of that group
I
and
did.
took it with you, right? Yeah,
Oh
because you're
no.
an empath, right? So you said you're highly sensitive. Did you forget that? So like when you went in that group and you're talking here,
I'm
you're
like, woohoo,
gonna
here
bring up
we
this
go.
vibration. You're like, okay, let's all come up to this vibration. People can do it in the moment. And then up there, you're in resonance. So you're able to say, okay, I'm gonna take some of that with you. I have similar pain. I'm gonna take that with me because I have maybe I have more tools and enthusiasm for healing it. And then so you left, and all of a sudden, like it really helped them. But yeah, it was more for you to process. Um, but yeah, no mistakes. That's why when you start really looking deeply at energy and being brave, going with the flow, trying these things out, uh, what I've noticed is I don't have any regrets. There's no judgment about the way things went down. I can always see how I could have done better or differently, and I'm going to change and do things. I'm going to learn and improve. But there's no real mistakes in the moment. And
So now
I
we
don't know.
have,
Once you can step into that, boy, life
can I step into
gets
that,
so much
please,
easier.
starting this minute? And
Everybody,
that,
please.
I think that segues well, and I'm keeping you over. We'll make it a two-part series, Jeffrey, if you're
Yeah,
okay.
sounds great.
This is spirit mind versus material mind, I think. You tell me, and you're gonna, and this course, Awakening the Spirit Mind, is so beautiful about how the energy today has shifted on this planet and elsewhere, etc. But can you explain just in this one way? You live in a manner that I think anybody would kill to, that you don't feel there's regret. You don't feel that, yes, okay, I could have done this better. You're not saying you're perfect, you're not a narcissist, but
Yeah,
you don't harbor it. It doesn't get in the way most humans, I think. You tell me, you work with millions. Um, when there's something that we view as a misstep or painful, we regret, we beat ourselves up. And I
yeah,
think we don't process it in a way, unless we're really evolved, the way you just helped me process that painful trigger
yeah.
experience. Do you think that if we could give people tips and watch the course, there's a link below, people, but listen, watch, there's visuals, it's incredible. But do you feel it's the material mind versus the spirit mind that gives us those reactions? Oh, I blew it. I'm not good enough. I'm going to be rejected. Is that the material mind?
Yeah, definitely. That's the yeah, material mind, which is the mind that's great at the material world, organizing things, counting things, assessing, monitoring, judging, measuring, all these things. It's
Uh,
also very emotional. And yeah, and so the trick there, you actually said it, but maybe I'll say it again just to make it more clear, is that when you start noticing that you actually have two minds, and that's okay. You don't have to try to turn this off. Like when I say that there's no regrets, I'm talking when I'm over here. Like from spirit mind, I have no regrets. I know that it's true that I'm doing my best. I'm helping even when I don't. Even when I think I'm causing pain, I'm also helping in some way. Like I trust
Mm.
the universe. I trust myself. The whole system is really beautiful. And I also have this other mind. I have it too. So I'll feel like, oh, I screwed up. That was terrible. But I don't take it seriously, right?
You don't.
So what I used to
How
do is
long
like
does it take you to have it and then let it go? A
it's getting
second?
faster and faster. It's getting
Yeah,
faster and
I
faster. But
want
it used
that.
to be this would come in, and then I would just be in this space for weeks, months, years, right? And things can stay with us forever. But once I started to say, oh, okay, like Hisami's trick, my wife Hisami, she always just says, ask yourself, which mind is this? It's like, oh, oh, that's my material mind. All of a sudden, I've moved it a little bit further away, there's a little distance, and it's over here, and I'm not part of it. Ooh, something shifted. Now I can see myself with a different clarity. I can see myself with love. I can see a different story. Doesn't mean the story is not true. It's just that there's two things happening all the time. And if you're only listening to the one that makes you feel unfulfilled and like you've made mistakes, it's rough. It's really rough. But you can also listen to the other one that's saying uh, things are beautiful. Actually, it doesn't have words. So I'm trying to paraphrase here,
Mm.
but that energy of spirit mind is this sense of peaceful presence, love, this universal wisdom. There's so many words for it. but none of them are sufficient. And when you can have that too, it's like all of a sudden I have compassion for the part of me that
Yeah.
has pain and suffers and feels guilty and gets angry and like all that. It's I don't have to make that all stop. I don't have to stop being a human to also appreciate that I'm human.
Oh, all
I can
right.
have those both.
Two things I want to say and one I want to ask. One thing I adore about your course, and we don't see this much with teachers. You have said Hisami is advanced in your mind in a lot of ways, that you learned a
Mhm.
lot from
Yeah.
her. And in your course, you'll say, oof, this video was very helpful for me. Just yesterday, I got very defensive about, you know, uh, elevated teachers don't often want to be, to show that they're going through the material at the same time they're teaching it. And I want to tell you, I really admire that because I feel it makes you more real. I don't want to just be talking to a guru who's so evolved that they can't remember what I'm feeling. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm thanking you for that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
We're all in it together. We're all there's no I don't think of myself as like uh, super different than everybody else. Even though I know that I express myself differently, I'm a little bit less prone to get stuck in fear. I have this adrenaline junkie part of me that serves me well in my personal growth, you know, and and but still, I'm not really that different. We're all very, very similar. Everybody, like I said, everybody's intuitive. Everybody's a healer. Everybody's a medium. We're all have pain and frustration, and we tend to, when we're circulating it inside, we spread it to other people. That's just natural. And um, but
but
we
I
also
have to,
all
uh,
have love inside and compassion, and when we're circulating that, we spread that to other people. So
but I have to push back. We may all have inherently the ability to be healers, but most of us are not pursuing it. So you are different. And I think you're so humble. I think you don't see how different you are, and maybe that
yeah.
serves you not to. But
Well, I would
I,
say one quick thing there before you dive into question
yeah,
that so as a profession, maybe, yeah. So yeah, I was a professional healer for a long time, or have been, and but I don't think that's the only way to do healing. Like when I go and get my haircut at the salon, that person's a healer, right? They're talking to me, they're listening to me, they're touching my hair and working on me. They're all
yeah.
wrapped up in my emotions, about my appearance,
They're
and
my
that
therapist while
person's
I'm
a
in the
healer.
chair.
Yeah, yeah, people are doing healing work all the time, and that's one thing I always want to little caveat add is just because I quit my engineering career and went into this doesn't mean that you have to. There's also an equally valid way to say I'm changing my way of seeing the world. The things that interest me are changing, but I want to stay exactly in the career I'm in and bring a new flavor to it. I want to bring that light and that awareness into this place that I'm already in.
Which
I'm
needs
not
it
trying
so
to go somewhere
much.
else. Yeah,
Yes.
that's totally okay too. We need light and love everywhere. So,
I
bring
love
it to,
it.
you
And
don't have to
this
change.
might be my material mind, but I think there's so many, how do I want to say it? There are many damaged humans who are not healing.
Yeah, okay. Got you. So, yeah,
Am I not right?
yeah, if you're in pain and confusion,
Right.
all of us, when we're in pain and confusion and circulating that, we can't help but spread that to others.
That's right. And so
And
that's a
so,
differentiation I'm making.
yeah, and when you see it like that from the energy perspective, instead of seeing like here's a person doing horrible things and being harmful, you say that person must be in a lot of pain and confusion. I can't imagine the level of pain and confusion I'd have to be in to do those things.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, even though I still loathe the things they're doing, all of a sudden they're a human and I have compassion for them. And that's weird. The first time I was like, what? I'm starting to have compassion for dictators? Like, what? This is too much. Like, I want to hate them. It's like, no, but actually, hating the people that are already in pain and confusion just
That's
makes it worse,
adding
right?
to
Right. It
the
just makes it worse. Um,
and then we're feeling it. Yeah. Good. I think you and I see it similarly. All right. Now here's a question. I also have been listening a lot to Dr. Joe Dispenza. Do you know if,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I find your work and his, very different, but in some ways complementary. So check him out, people, but he talks about quantum and that
Mhm.
one thing I find helpful that if you want a different reality, he says, I think he says, you have to change your personality to change your personal reality. So, if you're going to resist things and push against it, and it's going to be very hard to experience a different
Mhm.
reality. Um, Here's what I want to ask you, because I think some people will, part of my material mind does this. Let's not project it on other people. I want to be, and I have been, an incredible positive thinker. It will all work out. And sometimes it has not all worked out. It's been a
Yeah,
disaster. And
yeah.
what I'm very worried about, careful about, is I don't want to just go to a positive thinking place, but yet not take action. Like,
Mhm.
it'll be okay. It'll be okay. And it wasn't okay because
Yeah,
I was just in that positive thinking mode. Are you following me?
yeah, totally. Yeah,
So how can
that's pretty
we,
normal. Yeah.
yeah, what do you think about that when I say, do you ever see people doing that and they're confusing that with the spirit mind? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what you're talking about is what I would call material mind spirituality versus spirit mind spirituality.
Oh,
So,
wow.
like, so we have two minds, and this one is all the spirit mind is always connected. It's not even connected. It just is this universal consciousness and love. It just is. And so you have that. Everybody has that. But we're much more used to using this mind over here,
Right.
which because that's just what we get validated for. It fits well in the material world, and it's we make more money we think if we're doing what this mind uh,
Wow.
and this mind likes to figure things out and make models, right? So uh, this mind will like build up a set of premises. We can maybe put affirmations on our mirror, and we can build up a set of beliefs about, and then convince ourselves that it's true. Like because oddly, we always believe that our story is a true story, the story that we're making up. This is, and I don't want to scare anybody here or offend them too bad, but I'm sorry, but your stories are not true. Your beliefs are not true universally. Neither are mine, right? So, because this mind's job is to fill in the blanks, right? The job is to
Wow.
take a limited set of information, a limited set of understanding, because the spirit mind is the only one that has a full understanding. Material mind is taking a limited set of information and then making extrapolating and kind of filling in the blanks. It's that's what it's for. And that's what it's doing all the time. It's always making stories, right?
Wow.
We're always making stuff up. And we have this just fascinating ability to
Wow.
believe ourselves all the time, right?
Ugh.
And this one really strikes me as funny because um, I've done this so many times and I see everybody doing it. Like I'll be totally convinced that something is true. And then I'll get some new information, a new insight, and I'll be like, I was wrong. I was wrong. Like I thought, I'll just pick a silly example. I thought eggs were bad, and I got new information, and now eggs are good, right? Okay, I was totally wrong, and I'm totally right. Okay, so if I just in a moment went from like totally believing one thing to totally believing the opposite, what's to say that what I'm believing now isn't just something I've fabricated, made up, and just
Right.
and grabbed onto? Nothing. It is. We're always just our belief system is always evolving. It doesn't really mean anything. I'm not saying it's not useful. Like we need that. It's super important. But when you can
Ugh.
kind of take a step back and say, um, the things I believe that are helping me and bringing me joy and helping me spread joy and love and peace and everything that I want to spread to other people, I want to hang on to those. But the things I believe that make me feel bad about myself and other people, I want to find some new beliefs to fill that in. I want to grow those or change them, or evolve them into something where I'm not circulating this energy of despair or pain or frustration or anger. I want to change that. And just wanting that's enough to open it up a little bit, and those new beliefs and experiences will come in. And I always tell people when I start my workshops, because I know what I'm talking about is kind of far out for a lot of people. I always say, are there any intuitives in the room? Are there any healers in the room? And then I say, are there any skeptics in the room? And a few people raised their hand. I said, I'm with you. Like, I'm one of those people too. Like,
Oh,
I think that my beliefs should be based on my experiences. That's why I encourage people to experiment and try things, even things you don't think will be true. Try them out and find out for yourself, right? And then
mm,
all the skeptics are nodding. That makes sense. And I say, so if your beliefs should be based on your experiences, are yours? Are the beliefs you have right now based on your own experiences? Think about it. Tell me why you believe the things you believe. Why do you think this isn't true? Why do you think that? And then people are like, uh, because my
he
beliefs are
told
true.
me.
Because my beliefs are true. And I'm like, okay, so you're gonna have to set that aside.
Right.
Tell me why are they true? What experience backs them up? Do you have any? And then this is something I went through in my early 20s when I was first having intuitive experiences. I had this that I was like, okay, something doesn't jive here. My experiences, my beliefs don't match. Which one's insane? And eventually I was like, I'm going with experiences. Something's wrong with my beliefs. Uh, where did I get them? Best I can come up with is my parents, my teachers, people around me, TV, and all hearsay. Very few were based, because I was very young, very few were based on my beliefs or my experiences rather.
I see.
So just that little key, like that little opening,
Wow.
suddenly it's like, so being skeptical is great, but don't just apply it to everybody else. Apply it to yourself.
All right, cool.
That's what it's for.
Question.
Mhm.
Question. You need a nap after this. Um, as I hear you, a lot of what the material mind teaches us and reinforces in us causes pain, causes separation, causes. Is it always that what the spirit mind delivers to us, gives to us, is always peaceful, always loving, always of that energy?
Yeah, it's a how would you say it? Like a holistic, unconditional love observation space. So it's seeing things how they actually are energetically, not the way we want them to be, not the way we think they should be, not the way we're afraid they might be. It's just seeing what's actually happening. Like my wife Hisami, she just calls it the real world. She's like, she
But
just
for
always
most of
told me
us,
she's like, I just live in the real world, so I don't really understand why everybody else lives in
right,
this
because it ain't real
fantasy
for
world because
us.
they're not happy. Why is everybody in that fantasy world? Or now you could call it virtual reality. We all have our own virtual reality that
Wow.
we're in all the time, but you don't have to be. You can have that, like you can take the headset off sometimes and also look at the real world and then put the headset back on because it's fun, you know?
All right, Jeffrey, here's what we have to do in the remaining 10 minutes. I can hear when you share about it and when she shares, um, it's so natural. Like I'm in the real world, she says. But
Mhm.
so many of us, we didn't have access to these beautiful beliefs. We had programming, we had training. I'm not trying to blame our parents. They did the best they could, you know.
Yeah.
And here I'm walking out of being fired from the thing thinking I failed. And there was no one there who could say, just hang on a minute now, wait a minute. Let's look at it from the spirit mind. So it isn't real to most of us what you're talking about. And I'm not trying to push back. You know this, you train millions of
Yeah.
people. How can we, when we're talking to people, and a lot of my world are very analytical geniuses, they've written 10 best-selling books, they're advising governments. I'm not saying they can't be spiritual, don't get me wrong, but highly analytical, coming
Mhm.
up with frameworks that teach.
Mhm.
How can we help people who may have very well developed material minds that have worked for them in a lot of ways?
Mhm.
Gosh, somebody comes to mind who I have to share. April Rinne, who I had on the show. I just want to say her story is that she got a phone call in college. I'm going to cry at 20 that her parents were both killed in a car accident.
Uh,
What she has done with her life and what she drew, I can't even say it, from who they were and what they gave her. She's so beautiful and so remarkable. And she's making such a difference in the world. She teaches about flux, how we can
mhm.
thrive in constant change. I mean, what could be more healing?
Yeah.
But I think often it takes a life-changing experience to rip away. I don't know if she would agree with this
Mhm.
terminology, but rip away that facade of what we think life is, and so that we have to see it differently. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
How do we, and I'm dying to know what you think.
Mhm.
How do we help people who want what you're talking about, but they're
Yeah.
so immersed in the material mind? I mean, listen to Jeffrey, listen to his meditations, listen, get his course.
Mhm.
But what would you say 3 steps are to
Yeah.
help us make this shift?
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah.
make sense? My
First,
little diatribe
yeah,
there?
totally. Yeah, totally. I would say, yeah, to that story, that's a really powerful way to shift. That's is amazing that she was able to use that in that way.
I know.
Um, the energy has changed though recently, so that it takes less. You don't have to like uh, have a big crash in some place to be able to kind of shake up your beliefs. Um, everybody is um, everybody's starting to notice, whether they like it or not, that what they're thinking isn't totally true. So the stage is set right now for us to all change in a more graceful way. We don't have to have
Wow.
that life-changing event. Or
Wow.
our life-changing event can be small. Like I said, for me, a life-changing event was I took 2 weeks off from my engineering career, from my job, and built an addition on the back of my house with my friend who's a carpenter. 2 weeks outside, enjoying, doing physical labor. As soon as I went back in, I was sitting in a dark conference room, pretending that things we're talking about are super important. And I know it's sunny outside. What am I doing here? This stuff is not important. That was a life changing for me, right?
Wow.
No, nobody. It didn't have to be traumatic, but that was a aha moment. Like, why am I like I'm not angry at the people in here anymore for having this meeting. I'm not angry that I'm here. I'm I'm just noticed that I'm wasting my time here. I'm wasting the day and I'm wasting my life.
Wow.
Ah, okay, well, what do I want to do if it's not this? Hmm, that's it. And so, yeah, so if there were three things,
Yeah, I'm making you say
you know,
three.
three things,
I didn't prep you.
yeah, one would be just that, like uh, noticing that are
Yeah.
you excited about what's happening right now?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's going to be some yes and some no there, right? So, and then number two is let that be okay. Like totally okay. Nobody has all yeses. I don't have all yeses. I've got some frustrating things too. I just don't talk about those, Or actually, I
We're
do talk about
human.
a lot of them. But I can talk about them because I'm okay with it. I'm okay that
Hmm.
life is not all roses. Just wouldn't be that exciting if it was, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
What are we doing
that's why
here
we
if
go
it's
to
all a playground, you
yeah,
know?
that's why we go to movies that are sad or scary or make us angry because we enjoy it. Like we don't have to be there. We paid money to be there because we enjoy all the ups and downs and sides and everything. So that's okay. So too, yeah, let it be okay that things aren't perfect where you are. And then number three, I would say is that uh, let it just like you're letting the situation be okay, also let it be okay that you have two minds. This is
Mm,
such a powerful shift
mm,
because then you don't have to change the mind that's bothering you. You don't have to change it. Just sometimes also notice, okay, I also can feel good. Yes, life right now is pretty rough when I look at the material world around me, either whether it's money or health or friendships or whatever is really rough for you right now, that's still true, right? But somehow in the middle of it,
mm.
there may be a moment where you're just like, oh, this is the best coffee I've ever had. Oh my God. This is wonderful. Like, okay, so you can have both of those experiences, right? You can be in that space of love, even though there's a lot of stuff happening that's hard and challenging and painful too. So let it be okay that you have these two. And as soon as you open that up and stop trying to say, I have to make everything perfect over here before I can touch anything over here
So
in the
helpful.
spirit mind, I have to make everything perfect in the material mind first, because that's not going to happen. You're never going to make everything perfect in your life. because we're all aging. And so at some point that comes with some imperfections,
Boy, it
and
does
so
it.
it's going to catch up with you eventually, right? And that's okay. That could be fun too. But so you're never going to be perfect in the material world, but you can always tap into that love, that perfection in the moment
Mm.
of whatever it is. And the more you do that, the more you let yourself have those moments, all of a sudden they start to fill up your days. And all of a sudden my even in a really tough time, I can have a whole day that's full of beautiful moments that I
Mm.
really enjoy. It doesn't, and I'm not faking it. I'm not pretending that I fixed everything. I'm not, like you said, I'm not pretending that there's this beautiful, my life is perfect. I'm just really enjoying these moments, even though my life isn't perfect.
Wonderful.
Ah,
I forget where we left off. We had a little bit of a break, but let me ask you the fourth step. I can understand easily how, gosh, this is horrible. What am I going to do? But I can still have a walk in nature. There's water at the beach. There's
mhm.
now, how do we, you talk a lot about listening to your guidance, your guides that are giving you strategies or ideas and following the breadcrumb of that idea.
Yeah.
Would you say that would be the fourth step? Because we're going to appreciate, we're going to
Mhm.
see that it's not either or, it doesn't have to be all horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then what do we do next to
That's
really,
perfect. Yeah.
oh, good.
Yeah. Great question. So the fourth step there is, so once you get into this state where you're able to say, okay, it's okay that my life isn't perfect. I don't have to fix it all to have moments of joy. And then you start having those moments of joy. What you'll notice is that's when all the magic happens. That's when you figure out what you're doing, what the next step is, what your next idea is, where you're going in life. Because in those moments, you're tuned into spirit mind that has all that information all the time. And so all of a sudden, it's really fun. Like I watched Hisami, and we're talking the other day, last night. We just had dinner. She's still sitting at the counter. I'm like sitting on the couch, we're having this deep conversation, and all of a sudden she just kind of freezes. She's got this half smile on her face, and she just kind of zones out like this. And I know it's happening, but I'm just kind of watching her and smiling and appreciating
Wow.
that I get to be with this person that's so entertaining. And then about a minute goes by, and then she comes back and she's like, "Whoa, huh, wow! I just got this huge understanding of everything." And then we just continue, right? And it wasn't about what we were talking about.
Wow.
It wasn't in the context of that. It's just when you're in the moment, all information's available, right? We know this from quantum physics, actually, right? So
Right.
when you're
Right.
in the moment, everything is available,
Wow.
and so you don't have to figure it out. That's the mistake we usually make. I have to figure out how to fix my life.
Yes.
You don't have to do that. That's not your job. Like
Whose job
what you
is
have to
it?
figure out is what you have to figure out is how to enjoy your life,
Wow.
and then what your true desires are, and then start saying yes to things that align with your true desires. And step in, like see when the opportunities are coming to you. The universe is giving you opportunities all the time. When they come in, be brave and step in. It's
Believe.
funny. The analogy I like to use is like for the way I see manifesting happening or the change happening is that it's like I'm throwing myself a ball, right? So I have this idea of this vision, like, whoa, I see this amazing potential future. I'm going to say yes, and you just kind of like throw that pass, this Hail Mary, right?
Mhm.
And then you just go back to your life. Maybe you check in and go, it's going to take 2 years for that ball to land. Okay. Right. So you go back to your life. And then you just have to notice all of a sudden later, you'll be like, so you're drinking coffee, if that's your thing. And you're like, oh, I'm in this beautiful moment. And all of a sudden you notice, well, oh, wait a minute. That opportunity is coming in from 2 years ago or 2 months ago or 2 days ago. Like, oh, wow. Oh, I need to go to the store. And then you go to the store, you don't even know why. And then you bump into that person you've been trying to meet and can't get a hold of for months. You bump into them at the store. Oh, and then you have a conversation. They happen to have time. And then the next thing builds, and the next thing builds is an opportunity. Everything lines up, and it all comes together. You don't, figuring it out is the slow road.
Oh. And that is a quantum thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Find yourself in the place of gratitude and excitement.
Mm. Yeah.
wherever you can. That's what I cannot thank you enough. Obviously, I could talk to you for another 10 hours. This was a master class, a webinar, and everything. I learned so much from you, and I'm so grateful because I can be honest with you. It's come exactly at the right time for me.
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
so grateful. So where do we send them? And of course, I'm going to have links in the show notes below, but where can
Mhm.
we send them to soak up even more of
Yeah.
your
So
amazing?
either go to spiritmind.com. That's where you'll find out about, we've been talking about material mind and spirit mind and the work I've done with Hisami. So you can find about that at spiritmind.com. Or for me in general, you can go to iamjeffreyallen.com and you'll also see my energy work training. The more sort of popular one that maybe is a little more tangible for those of you
Mhm.
that are really, really into the material world and growth and making money or creating things or relationships. Like if you need data and information, I am jeffreyallen.com. If you're just following the heart and you're just super ready to go that direction, spiritmind.com.
And I have a
Yeah.
special link for spiritmind.com, so you'll see it below. I can't thank you enough. What a blessing and a gift you are in this world. And I can't imagine a time where we need what you're teaching in Hisami to more. It's challenging. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. And
Thank you so
people,
much, Kathy.
oh, I'm so blessed. People, we want you to comment. We want to hear what you think. If you're skeptical, bring it on. If you don't understand, I mean, it was deep what we talked about. We would love to hear your questions, your comments. You can write. I know you're terribly busy. Not terribly, wonderfully busy. Watch the words. But wherever you see this, if you have a question, we'd love to hear from you. And we certainly pray that this was healing for you and it gave you a new perspective that you can step into with great joy. Thank you again, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. I hope you'll come back again.
I'd love to. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Everybody, wishing you, we were talking about finding brave. This is the definition of it. We're wishing you a wonderful Finding Brave 2 weeks, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today. And please don't forget to check out findingbrave.org for more programs, resources, and tips. And tune in next time for your weekly dose of Finding Brave.